Let's break down a Rust cinematic and learn how to take full advantage of the debug camera and demo recordings. Hey guys, Jafar here and let's get started. Before we begin, we'll need to access the server that allows us to use the debug camera and record feature. You can join a creative server that gives you admin privileges, or host your own server. If you're new to hosting a server, don't worry, I have a dedicated server guide where you can set up a server in minutes. Once you have set up a server and obtained admin privileges, press F1 to open the console and type debug camera to enter free camera mode. Use right click and drag to zoom in and out, or use plus or minus. Press shift to fly faster, space to fly slower, Q and E to move up or down, arrow keys to pan, and R to reset. To adjust the camera speed, type cam speed 0.5 to slow down the movement. For smooth camera motion, use cam loop, followed by a value. 0.02 is my preferred setting. To control the player while in debug camera mode, unfreeze the player's controls. This allows the camera to follow the player's movement while still within the server. Guides can be helpful to line up your shots. You have up to 4 guide presets to choose from. Finally, if you have found a nice position but need to make changes, save the current debug camera's position, angle and field of view. If you want to load them again, type the name. To make the process easier, let's bind the debug camera to an easy to remember key. Type bind key debug camera to toggle between the debug camera every time you press that key. Here's a list of keybinds I would recommend setting and learning. There are a few bonus commands that can help during your recordings, such as no clip, allowing you to freely fly around the map without being in debug camera mode, God mode so you don't take any damage, spawn AI players, and kill to destroy building structures or entities, disabling progress time so it always remains the current time of day, enabling AI ignore players so you can record the monuments without being harassed, and refreshing the loot spawns by despawning everything with this command and spawning it back with the fill groups command. After gaining an understanding of the debug camera, it's time to record the demos in your game. To begin recording, press F1 and type record, followed by the file name. The recording will start and you can perform whatever actions you want in game. For better results, multiple takes in one session are suggested. To stop recording, click on the stop button on the screen or type stop in the console. If you need the recording UI to disappear, type demo.hud0. To watch the demos, go to the main menu and click on the demos. A list of recordings should appear. If not, refresh the page. First disconnect, select the demos you want to watch and press play. When watching the demo, it would automatically play in first person. The demo UI will display, allowing you to pause and skip. You may need to press the Alt key to unlock the cursor so you can click on the UI. To record without the UI or cursor, press Alt to hide the cursor and Tab to hide the UI. To enter the debug camera, type it in console or press the bound key. This section examines the techniques used to capture specific scenes in the cinematic shots. The car ride scene was first recorded on a Rust demo, where specific actions were performed to create a visually appealing recording. Here are the settings I used for the cinematic shots. Essentially everything turned up to the max. If you would like to push these settings further, we can increase them in the console. To improve distant tree quality, input tree.quality 1000, compared to the max of 200 through the UI. For less visual popping and greater detail at range, turn up the LOD bias to 5 from the default of 1. LOD is used to reduce the quality of objects when they are further away to improve performance. Therefore, by reducing this detail reduction, your game's performance will be hit hard, so only use this for cinematics. For a more fuller scene, we can turn up the mesh quality to 1000 from the default max of 200. This overall improves the quality of objects from a distance, rendering additional assets and shadows. Finally, we can improve the grass view distance and set it to 200 meters from the default 100. This slightly improves the grass and rock density at a distance. Here's a before and after with the default settings versus the applied improvements. The cinematic shots were captured during a sunset to create the desired environment. The time can be adjusted by using admin time followed by a value between 0 and 24. To adjust fog, use the command admin fog with a value between 0 and 1. And to adjust rain, use admin rain with a value of between 0 and 1. The majority of the scenes were shot with a depth of field. To enable the depth of field setting, go to the settings menu. Using depth of field upper with a value between 0 and up will increase or decrease the blur gradient. If we look at an example from the top down, this simulates a low aperture value, while setting a high aperture value will create a sharper gradient. Using depth of field blur with a value between 0 and up will increase or decrease the strength of this blur. So in our previous example, with a lower blur value, our gradient is transparent, while with a higher blur, our gradient becomes opaque. The command depth of field focus dist is a value between 0 and up, and will increase or decrease the point at which the gradient starts. If the subject is moving, use depth of field focus lookout to track the subject and keep them in focus. Autofocus can be enabled with the command depth of field mode, where 0 is auto, 1 is manual, and 2 is target. With this command, we can enable the monochromatic display for depth of field. Black indicates what's focused, while white indicates what's blurred. The target bind command is used to lock the camera onto the car, allowing for smooth motion. This command can be bound to a key by typing bind key plus Debugcamera target bind in the console. Additionally, Debugcamera cycle bone can be used to switch between different parts of an object, such as tracking a player's head or arms. Then we can combine it with a bone rotation command. Now our camera will follow the bone through its movement. This can also be applied to vehicles and other inanimate objects. One of the more impactful commands is changing the timescale. The cliff jump scene demonstrates this nicely. 1 is the default and 0 is completely frozen. The game finds anything below 0.2 hard to play back, as it jitters or doesn't move at all. However, for a dramatic slow motion effect, set this to around 0.2 and above. You can also perform time lapses by increasing the timescale, but make sure you record for long enough. In post-production, I used various techniques to enhance the cinematic experience. One of these was camera shake, which helped to create a more immersive and dynamic feel. This effect was added using DaVinci Resolve, so let's find out how. Drag the camera shake over our shot and we'll see it starts to instantly kick in. Where something is passing by, we'll need to add keyframes to it, starting off with a low level of motion, and quickly increasing and decreasing as the subject moves past. Another important aspect of post-production is color grading, which can completely transform the look and feel of a scene. In Resolve, add an adjustment layer to apply our color grading onto, and then head over to the color tab. If you're unsure on what to do, you can never go wrong with trying some of the already made presets. While presets can be a good starting point, manually adjusting the color levels will provide a more personalized touch. All the sounds you heard during the cinematic were added during editing. For other cinematics, you might need the sounds of certain guns, but for driving around, it would be easy enough to get the sound effects for driving on dirt. This way it gives me full control of what I want to hear, and allows me to layer additional sounds that wouldn't originally be there. Remember, timing is key when it comes to sound effects. Even the slightest delay can make the sound unnatural and out of place. And that's it. Thanks guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.